Hey everybody, 1 second. All right, so my wife, a couple years back, I don't know when it was exactly, she got me that on-air light. I was running a Dungeons and Dragons, well, it's actually Pathfinder campaign for some friends of mine, online, and she got me that, so I figured I'd use it. So it's day 3 and of the 30-day Speak to Camera challenge, and I'm super excited. It's early morning, it's before 7 o'clock, and yeah, so I'm planning on recording these and then publishing them probably first thing in the morning when I get up. That's what I did with yesterday's. We published it this morning. So I'm still struggling with a lot of the filler words, and seems to be my big one, and I usually go and, but anyway, I'm kind of wondering what you think of of the format. Do you like me sitting down? Do you like me standing up? What resonates more? And if you could throw it in the comments, that would be hugely helpful. So I took a few more notes this time, trying not to do everything from memory, so I can stay on topic and hopefully not have, half an hour videos. But so today's prompt is the kind of giving you an overview of the Zettelkasten method, from beginning to end, right? And what I'm going to talk about is, what is it, in my own words, what I've come to see it as. What are the 3 main pieces of the Zettelkasten system, and then an overview of the process, how it works, and then kind of going into what you end up with, a library of insightful gems of wisdom, right? So that's what I'm planning, and let's see how it goes. So what is it? The Zettelkasten, in my own words, is a knowledge curation system where you are, it's not about collecting information. It's not about collecting knowledge. Anything and everything. That's not what it's for. One of the key aspects of it is that you're only collecting things that are of profound interest to you, that resonate with you. What matters is that the information that you're putting in it matters to you, first and foremost. That's key. And then it is a system that you are able to build a legacy around. That's a big term, right? Legacy. But I'll get into that a little bit more. So that's what I want to go over. What it is. So that's what it is. The 3 main parts of the Zettelkasten. There's the source cards. I call them source cards. Other people call them bib cards. The source cards are kind of your first, as you find content that resonates with you, you create a source card. You turn that source card over, and anytime you run across something that just grabs your attention, that you don't want to forget, you end up writing an observation note, a short note that on the card that kind of points you to the information. You either put a page number or a timestamp, and you have that observation note to go back to. And then you keep going, and the next thing that pops up to you, boom, you want to write that down too. Then you the second part is your main note cards, your main note section, and that's where that's where things get promoted from observation notes to main notes. And those can be things like quotes, ideas, anything that resonates with you that you want to keep forever, that you want to know where it is forever, and your thoughts on those things. Then the last part of the system is the index. And the index is simply a key term index. And what you end up doing is, from your main cards that you create, you pick the keywords that you think someday that you will use to remember, oh, I wrote about this. So then you can look that up. It's your map. It's your map of all the insights that you've collected over the years. The process, I've already talked about the process a little bit, but I kind of want to go into it a little bit more detail. When you create a source card, when you sit down to a YouTube video, or when you're reading a book, or whatever the content is, you get into the habit of creating a source card for that content. And what that does is it trains your brain from being just a consumer of content to saying, hey, brain, I expect to find something insightful in this. And it might be things that you agree with or disagree with. It's okay either way, because then you will create main cards, and you'll write down in those main cards what it is you agree with, what it is you disagree with, and why. And over time this builds. But you're not just consuming anymore. You're trying to become someone who is really interested in building your knowledge, building your wisdom, gaining wisdom, putting these things into practice. So you collect your observation notes, and you probably won't create a note for every observation, a main card note for every observation that you collect. You'll go back through those observation notes over time, and you'll find, oh, this is really insightful. I want to do more with this in some way, shape, or form. It's applicable to what you're doing today. It's exciting. It's novel, and it's applicable. And so you promote that observation note to a main note, to a main card. And then once you have that main card, like I've already said, you underline key terms in that card and put them in your index. I have a card that I created and drew. I don't know, hopefully it'll focus in on this. I don't know if it's actually focusing in on it or not. I apologize if it's not. But there's the process. You've got your source, which can be a book, video, whatever. You create your source cards with observation notes on them. And then from those, you promote some of those to those profound insights to your main cards. And then from those main cards, you build out your index. You can find the stuff later in your map. And then you store it all in the Zettelkasten. So then the next time you add a main card, what you try to do is find the card in your system that most closely relates to the new card you're putting in. And then you put the card next to that card using alphanumeric or numeric alpha addresses. And we'll talk about that in a later video. If you want to get started really quick and you don't want to wait for my content that I'm creating, go to Scott Shepard's YouTube channel. He's got a ton of information, and all of this information is there. And anyway, I'll just give you that resource. So when you're putting in this new information alongside existing information that is related, you build out all of your sections start to become related in these soft categories. And you're not just collecting information, but you're building on your previous insights, and it might change the way you think about things a little bit. New information, you're learning, you're growing, and it's magical, really. The connections that things that you might have thought were not related at all of a sudden you start seeing these connections, and you make links between those cards. The cards that are closest to it, and also you could have cards that are way far away from that idea, but in some way connects, and you create a jump link from both of those cards. It's pretty amazing. But that feedback loop of reviewing to find out where you want to place it is a huge piece of the system. It's a huge part of the system. Because rather than, like I talked about yesterday, having the excitement about something and then it just goes away, your brain can only handle so much, right? But rather than letting it dissipate and just be lost to time, you're building on these things. And at different points in your life, you'll be interested in different things. And you'll be growing this library in these different sections. But then eventually these things will pop back up, right? And then you'll find these connections and you'll be like, whoa, that makes sense. That connects to that because this is the way I'm thinking now. It's a very cool system. I can't state that enough. So that's the process overall. And the system is meant to, it's been proven that it lasts the test of time. Where digital apps, they're mutable. And I use the term mutable and immutable a lot. In programming, we use those terms a lot. The immutable aspect of the Zettelkasten is that you're always adding to, you're never taking away from, and you're building upon it's mistakes stay in the system because you learn from your mistakes and they don't break it. You're not tempted to, I've got this whole section in the wrong spot, so I'll move it. No, because you've already addressed it with hard addresses that are referenced all over the place. So you leave it where it is, and you move on from those mistakes, and you learn and you grow and you just continue. It's very freeing. So rather than in a digital app where you might organize things a certain way, and then you read something or you watch some video, and well, I'm using this app, and now all of a sudden this app has some features that I want to use. So now I've got to migrate all of my knowledge to this new system. No. Or I don't like the numbering system that I did, and I can easily change it. And you spend more and more time wasting more and more time on the system, like I've talked about previously, and you're not focused on the actual insights, the actual things that resonate with you. And this system forces a strong word, because it's very flexible. But the system helps you to think deeply and to grow your thinking over time. So, Lumen, Nicholas Lumen is the guy that created the system. Well, his knowledge was based on lots of previous knowledge, but he's the first one that I understand put it all together the way that he did. He used his system for 40 plus years, and he ended up writing, let's see, I got this in the notes. He ended up writing over 70 books, and I believe 600 academic papers over those 40 years. It's huge. And as you build out this knowledge and these insights, and you've got these sections that are growing and with more and more nuanced information, the content is just there for you. And you pull out a section, and all of a sudden you've got all these insights, valuable insights. You know where they came from. You know who to cite. It's pretty impressive. So it's a system that is meant to be used for the rest of your life. And I mentioned yesterday that I'll talk about this thing, this beast behind me. When I started mine, again, ADHD, obsessive, hyper focus, right? I started mine, and I just had a box, one box. That's all you need to get started. You don't need what I've got. This is nuts, like I said. But I thought, well, I want to have kind of this uniform system. And so how many boxes do I want? And the book, what is it called? The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Scott, actually, one of his chapters is the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Zettelkasten, or the Antinet. And it cued something in my head, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, in that book, the main character asks this AI computer, what's the meaning of life? And the computer comes back ultimately with the answer 42. And he's like, what, 42? What are you talking about? And the computer's like, well, unless, coming up with an answer is easy, but knowing the right questions is the hard part, right? If you don't know what question you're asking, the answer won't make any sense. And so I played off that idea, and so I've got 42 of these boxes behind me, and I figured that'll last me for the rest of my life. I'm 48 now. If I live another 25 years, then I've got all that open space to store this. And it's building a legacy. Imagine your kids or your grandkids being able to go into your system and find all those valuable insights and wisdom and words of wisdom that you've collected all of your lifetime. The idea is just amazing. So that's what it is. That's the process, and that's the result. And if I'm going to be doing tomorrow. I'm actually going into how the Zettelkasten has helped me in my spiritual walk. I'm excited about that. In a future video, I'll be talking about in more detail how to set up your own. Again, if you want to quickly find that out, go to Scott Shepard's YouTube channel. I'll link it in the post, hopefully, if I remember. I did yesterday's actually, so it's there if you want it. And I'm going to talk about the lessons that I've learned as I've been doing it, because I got kind of started off on the wrong foot in some ways, which are still in my system, which doesn't break anything, but to alleviate that struggle for you, I'll share some of those lessons that I've learned. And so again, this is day 3. There are 27 days left in the challenge, and may God bless your day, your walk, and keep seeking His face. Thank you for your time. God bless.